Let's start with the good news. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is out of danger and recovering at Chequers, the country house. I've interviewed Boris a few times and met him informally too. He is, in my view, the perfect example of cometh the hour, cometh the man. And I wish him well towards a full recovery. The whole country will be drawing a sigh of relief. The Prime Minister has a big decision, among many, to make, and that is when to lift lockdown. At the moment, we can't see loved ones, we can't go to work, and even if we do go for a walk, we have to keep 2 meters apart, and our faces are hidden behind masks. On the other hand, this is the closest we've come to a collective experience in years. We are suddenly watching the same news and digesting the same information. We're probably talking to each other more than ever over phone and internet, and hundreds of thousands have volunteered to help in hospitals. There is also in London a very obvious pride in the building of a new hospital, the Nightingale, the largest critical unit in the world. It was built in just 9 days. I am extra proud because one of my sons, a captain in the British Army, helped organise the construction, and another son, a doctor, volunteered to work on the wards and has already started treating patients. Criticisms of politicians and suspicion we might be getting this wrong is balanced by the feeling we're all in this together, even if all we can do is shout hello from a safe distance. But these are early days. Lockdown Britain is going to have to process 2 traumas. First, death. Well, people die all the time, but rarely in one go and with the same condition, and never in this degree of media attention. Given the scale of mortality, it's likely that almost every family will be touched by it, but due to the lockdown, will be denied many of the usual rights and companionship that we rely on to cope with grief. Second, we're going to have to confront the trauma of prolonged boredom, unemployment, and loneliness. There's been a growing awareness in recent years of the link between mental and physical health, that if you are depressed or unstimulated, physical problems follow. Well, now we're engaged in a mass experiment in enforced isolation, or just as difficult being stuck with the same person for a long period of time. One suspects that as frustrations increase, so will tensions between the generations, and there's no end in sight. Ministers don't know how or when to lift the virus lockdown because the scientists can't agree on their science. It's a don't know situation all round. And I understand some form of lockdown is likely to continue till at least June. Big public events in the UK are already being cancelled until the autumn. But the longer the lockdowns go on, the more people are thinking not just about their safety, but about their bank balances and pension values. And translate that worry to a national level, and you have chancellors and finance ministers agonising about when to allow people to go back to work to try and save their jobs and their economies. And the question they're all asking is, when is it safe to go back into the water? Or more accurately, the parks. COVID-19 is presenting us with a stark choice between life, death, and the economy, because the trade-offs required by the pandemic will get even harder. The scientist who's been advising the UK government is warning there isn't a clear exit strategy. And that sums up the wider problem of scientists and academics and politicians all trying to find common ground to understand the enemy they face. As to the various scientists and experts, as it becomes clear they don't agree amongst themselves, they're losing the aura of infallibility that initially shrouded them in this crisis. The mantra of deferring to the science no longer silences debate. Scientists have for them that rarest of demands, a deadline, but they don't seem to be able to agree on anything. Well, governments can theoretically check out any time they like. They might not in reality be able to leave because quite obviously, if restrictions are eased too quickly, we risk a second wave, even more deadly than the first. Nevertheless, some of the early lockdown starters, Austria, Denmark, Norway, have all started to ease restrictions. Let's hope their judgments are right. The economists say, look out. Lockdowns will destroy your economy. The doctors say if you end the lockdown, more people will die. And the academics say, well, what they always say, my theory is right and yours is wrong. It's been bizarre to see respected pundits and senior politicians simultaneously argue we should be strictly guided by, in quotes, the science, and that any scientist expressing dissent from the prevailing orthodoxy is behaving irresponsibly. The truth is, everyone is trying to make the best guess on horribly limited information. I hope we learn lots more soon, and that we don't have to pay too high a price for that information. Nobody fully understands this virus yet. Nobody knows where the exit door is, let alone when it will open.